I just saw a guy who his granddaughter.
Again, welcome aboard the Gettysburg Railway. We want your trip to be enjoyable, informative, and safe. Please sit back and relax while I review our safety guidelines and general information. Keep the aisles and area around your seat clear so that other passengers may safely pass through the car. Please do not stand in the aisles. Watch your footing as you walk through the train, especially between the cars. Please wear your shoes at all times, and if they have laces, please keep them tied. Please keep your feet off the seats to help preserve these historic rail cars. Children under the age of 18 must be accompanied by an adult 18 years of age or older when walking through the train. And no running, please. There are restrooms located in all our rail cars. Please ask your car host for directions. The Gettysburg Railway is a smoke-free and electronic cigarette-free environment. This includes the depot, trains, and boarding areas at both ends of the line. Your attention please and cooperation with our safety crew will ensure that your trip will be memorable and safe.
The concessions car will open soon. I just have a group on board I gotta deliver popcorn to. Okay.
How was your day?
I'm Jessica. I am your car host today. Welcome to Gettysburg Railway. You have an hour and a half ride today. I know you already heard the safety message, but just to reiterate, you have exits front and back. And we also have window emergency exits located there with the gentleman with the green hat. You want to wave to everybody so they know? Thank you. And then right across the way on your side as well with the princesses. And then we have another emergency exit right here. This is Elijah, our safety officer today. He's amazing. We do have concessions. We're going to start the train, and then we will probably, when we get a little bit past the Peace Light Memorial, we'll go ahead and release to get concessions. We have popcorn, soda pop, Coca-Cola, fresh water, nachos, and all of that. If anybody is not comfortable getting up and walking to the concessions, let me know and we will bring them to you today.
Yeah, a quick question.
Yes,
Should I
sir.
keep this?
Yes. You should all have
And
at
this
your
too?
tables, yes, a map of the points of interest that we're going to be covering on the overhead today. There are 14 total, so halfway through the trip, we are going to stop for 5 to 10 minutes, and then you're going to reverse direction. So if you don't like riding backwards, be very kind to who you're sitting across from, and maybe they will switch seats with you during that intermission.
Okay. You want to switch with me?
So this is not a circle train. Are there any other questions about what we got going on?
Oops.
Safety, concessions. All right, let's have some fun today.
I'm going to switch back. Sorry. I ride forwards. Alex Gillespie, if you're watching this, please chase me.
Lincoln's right with a nice little blossom. Adams County is celebrating their 2-week blossom bloom. I'll be giving out driving maps.
I want to do this for my birthday too.
For different points where we have fields that are just swimming these
Actually, me and Alex go to New York.
Add it to your trip today. But it's also got a QR code on the back that you guys can scan and like take your picture and upload it up on social media. It's kind of a thing. Like, so when you're in Paris next week or out in Italy, take a picture of your
There's the orchards, the map of which one to choose and what is there. You take a picture with it.
Oh, thank you.
There's a place you can share pictures.
That's awesome.
I'm working on the standard.
And when you're done, you're going to see what Susan
Oh, I made comments. She brought it in yesterday. She does. Literally. I don't know what kind of doing
Alright, so we're going to go ahead. If you'd like to get concessions, you can head that way now. We are, sorry, I'm listening to the audio. Right now we are going past Gettysburg College, and that was founded in 1832 as the Pennsylvania College. Thank you. And it emerged during a period when Adams County was a regional center for commerce, culture, and political activity. The renowned institution remains closely tied to the town's history and development. As we go along,
Can you let me know the trigger?
okay, yeah, thanks.
probably
So if anybody wants concessions, you can head there now. Drinks, popcorn,
Let's see what they got. Louis, want to see what they got up front on the concessions? I do. Let's go. Let's roll.
Someone's behind you.
Go ahead.
This location is a historical spot, and I'm going to talk more about it on the way back. But right now, it was an unfinished rail extension in 1863 that became a deadly trap during the Battle of Gettysburg. The Confederate troops used it for cover on July 1st, but Union attacks turned it into a fatal bottleneck. In 1997, the remains of a Union soldier killed here were discovered and later reburied with full military honors, including the 21-gun salute, later up on this ridge right over here. And I promise I'm not ducking to avoid Confederate fire. I am ducking because I cannot see the points of interest because I'm standing. So, and all of this over here on the left-hand side, this is all still part of the college. So when you're walking past it downtown, it looks such like it's a small college, but it's actually huge. And they have a really good softball team.
well, then she said that.
That real thing though.
I can't see it. I don't care. I just keep looking back.
I believe it.
This is just so
Yes, it is a co-ed college.
Not fun.
close to it.
We're now entering the area of the Eternal Light Peace Memorial. Dedicated in 1938 on the 75th anniversary of the battle, President Franklin D. Roosevelt spoke to a massive crowd, including many aging Civil War veterans.
One of these days I'm going to chase this
Atop
train
the
with the
monument,
outlaw.
a flame burns 24 hours every day in honor of the lasting peace between North and South.
This is that little loop we went on.
We're now riding by the Confederate cannons of Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Henry Carter's battery. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the deafening sounds of artillery fire, heard by Gettysburg civilians as they sheltered in their homes awaiting the end of the battle. There were more than 600 cannons in use during the Battle of Gettysburg. And during the bombardment before Pickett's charge on July 3rd, 200 cannons were firing at the same time.
Some burn. I can't see it. Well, maybe. It's really hard to see. You can only see his head sticking above his head. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was fun, huh? Yeah, well.
Keep walking.
So it was hard to
Welcome aboard the Gettysburg Railway.
We're trying to figure out our audio situation right now. Technology doesn't work today.
Yeah, like the old
Sorry everyone, we're trying to get the audio situation figured out. We're having a little technical difficulty. But hopefully it'll be working here soon.
Includes the depot, train, and boarding areas at both ends of the line.
We're down about 10 seconds on that station up here.
Okay, so while I was getting concessions, did you all hear about the Eternal Peace Light Memorial?
Turn your volumes up. Go to the next GPS signal over.
All right, and you heard about the Confederate artillery under Lieutenant Colonel Henry Carter that stood during the battle. He had 600 cannons, and they were in use, approximately 200 firing simultaneously during the July 3rd bombardment preceding Pickett's charge. So if you guys have, who here has been out to a reenactment with the cannons and you've heard one or two go off? No. They are, okay, you guys have. They are extremely loud. I work artillery. I also set off the cannons as a volunteer for the parks. I have seen one cannon fire set off 4 or 5 car alarms 10 feet away. So if you could just imagine 200 to 600. It was extremely loud. The sound waves actually were heard in Harrisburg and all the way out to Philadelphia. The way that the Pennsylvania landscape contours, it just sort of bounced all the way out there. So is there anybody here from Harrisburg or Philly? No. Yeah, it's away, several hours away. So that is where we just passed with the cannons on both sides. And then, let's see, next up, we talked about Civil War positions, the history of the railroad. So efforts to bring the Gettysburg, the rail service to Gettysburg began in the early 1800s. And after that, many setbacks, the rail service finally arrived in 1858. The Gettysburg and Harrisburg Railroad you're riding on was completed in 1884. Marked by the driving of the two golden spikes at Oak Ridge. The first passenger train ran on April 21st, 1884. The World's Fair. This rail line that you guys are on actually stopped the next intersection over in front of the station. There's a during the Civil War, and President Lincoln stood there and had this vision to continue the rail line. And this is not the current tracks that it was after the Civil War. The rails actually went up around and into the battlefield. They were remodeled and put straight forward through about 100 years later, all the way up to Gettysburg. Hi guys, welcome to car 1862, used in the World's Fair. So each car has their own production model, their own history, their own uses. This is a special car. It was used during the World's Fair. They had circus performers on here. What was the name of that motorcycle group thing?
I have no idea.
They had 6 or 7 motorcycle tourists that would use this particular car. The next car, 1863, was used by Ringling Brothers. And the other one, I apologize, I don't remember off the top of my head what the history of that one. I just know that it's a passenger car with 6 sleepers in it, in addition to first class seating. So when we remodeled all of our cars to make them the same, they all have their own history. We wanted to tell you guys about their history and what you're actually riding on. But we gave you all first class seating, luxury first class. We did everything on the outside, we did inside, the heating, the air conditioning, the bathrooms are all remodeled, and all of that. So, I mean, started operations last September. This is our first year in operation. Very nice. I was raised in 1965. But I don't have So this was 1949. And the name of it was built for Pennsylvania Railroad as car 8257, and the name of the car was Elmira Inn.
Drivers, let me know if the audio is on at all. If not, you just need to keep talking.
How is the train powered?
So we are running 2 diesel engines today. You have a diesel engine on the front and the back. Excuse me, sorry. And it is, let's see, the locomotives themselves, sorry. LTEX 1863 is a leased unit. It's a GP 15-1 built in 1979 for Conrail. Formerly CSX 1562 Conrail, 1678.
So that's the smoke I see occasionally.
That's the 1863 unit that's at the front over here.
That's why it's leaving.
No.
It was a fire. I said,
Now, the other diesel engine that we're running at the front is the GETR 1786. It was built in 1961 for New York Central, and it's former New Jersey Transit 4135, Conrail 3070, Penn Central 3070, and New York Central 3070. It was rebuilt in 1989 with PAL from Burlington Northern F45 locomotive number 6628. And does anybody know what kind of car or kind of engines were used during the Civil War? Give the kids that first answer. Not coal? Steam, yes.
Coal fire, Steve. That's what they burn.
So they were steam engines. And does anybody know how fast we are going today on our diesel engines? Yes. 25, 20, 30, 15,
35.
35. We're going 170 miles an hour right now. It's so smooth you don't even realize it. I'm just kidding. We are going 10 miles an hour. And that is, of course, with these steam engines, their passenger trains went 30 miles an hour. So 3 times faster than what we're going right now.
Don't spend the other things.
Need any concessions during
South Mountain is the northern extension of the famous Blue Ridge Mountain Range in Tennessee, Virginia, and Maryland. The range
Mountain's gonna
extends
be on
about
that
70
side.
miles from the Potomac River
Over
to
there,
Gettysburg,
that's the South
Pennsylvania. During the French and Indian War, the mountain provided protection for area settlers against enemy raids and incursions from the
There's
west.
my own concession right
And during
here.
the Civil, it served a critical role in disguising the movements of the invading Confederate forces.
Get the joke?
See, that's one of those things, that's a key.
Audio playing?
It just clicked in. I'm waiting for the next section.
Bang now.
I got my own concessions, never mind.
For the early settlers, life on the frontier during colonial times was a harsh existence. During the French and Indian War, many settlements were raided by enemy forces, and dozens of civilians were killed or carried off as captives. Local men formed militia units and marched into western Pennsylvania together with British forces, and eventually the threat was eliminated with the capture of Fort Duquesne at present-day Pittsburgh in 1758. One of the local heroes of the French and Indian War was Colonel Hans Hamilton, an early settler who at one time owned much of the land in the area we're riding through now. 20 years later, men from this area once again rallied to defend their homes and villages, this time serving in the Continental Army against the British during the American Revolution. Today, cemeteries and churchyards across Adams County are filled with the graves of these revolutionary patriots. We are now approaching the Newville or Biglerville Road, modern-day Route 34, leading north out of Gettysburg. This is one of the 10 major roads that converge at Gettysburg. On July 1st, 1863, about 7,000 men of Confederate General Robert Rodes' division passed here on their way to join the battle.
I haven't had one of those in years. It still tastes pretty good.
So this was a pretty important spot on July 1st, 1863. When we were down at that new cut, down at the very beginning, they did not know these 7,000 Confederate troops were up here. The Union were sitting there told that to hold that position no matter what out of those 275 men. They had no idea that 7,000 Confederate troops were approaching from southbound. So we'll talk more about what happened at Oak Ridge with the 16th of May on the way back. Yeah, that was that area right there.
The next time I rewatched it, well, we got some details. I'm not sure. I've been trying to keep up with the whole thing. Yeah. Any questions?
I get a lot of questions from people who are in from out of town who want to know what those purple markings on the trees are. The state of Pennsylvania has a law that allows us to mark our trees with purple as no trespassing. Instead of doing the red or the yellow signs that say no trespassing, that's all that is. They are not marked for cut down or conservation. Now we do have a lot of conservation efforts going along the railroad as well as out in the farms. Some of the farms we go past, you will see mounds that are out there,
This one looks nicer.
sort of strategically placed. Those provide habitat for local wildlife. It provides growing spots for flowers here in a couple weeks.
We are
There's
getting
also
close to one
soil
of the original
stabilization.
stops on the 1884 Gettysburg and Harrisburg Railroad, Goldenville.
They can't see you.
The Goldenville
They were on
Road,
our
which we are
train
now
yesterday,
crossing,
so they
dates
own
to
this
1747 and is one of the oldest roads in the area.
Lilacs.
George Washington traveled this road in 1794, and in the area we're now riding through, a Civil War skirmish took place on June 26, 1863, between the 26th Pennsylvania Emergency Regiment and Confederate troops under the command of General Jubal Early.
Yes.
So when George Washington passed through here, he was passing through in 1747. That house that we just passed, it was the original post office in the region. So it's a historical spot, a historical location. We'll talk about Russell's Tavern here. It's nearby. It is not open to the public today. It is a privately owned residence, but there's a lot of history that went into preserving that particular house where George Washington stopped and had dinner. And we have some beer out there too.
I don't see why they couldn't see us.
Oh my gosh, stop. They felt something like, oh, there's four here, they just walked out of the room right there inside the gate. And I was like, I made the patient get up, you gotta go to the
Let's go back in time to 1794. The federal government had imposed a new tax on whiskey to reduce the national debt. Farmers in western Pennsylvania, who made and sold whiskey in large quantities, felt the tax unfairly targeted them. In 1794, tensions escalated into violence when protesters attacked tax collectors and government officials. President George Washington responded by sending federal troops to suppress the rebellion, demonstrating the federal government's authority to enforce its laws. In October 1794, President Washington himself passed through Adams County on his way home after putting an end to the rebellion. He is said to have spent the night at Joshua Russell's Tavern in the area we're riding through now. Washington was the first of our nation's presidents to visit the area, but not the last, largely due to its popularity as the site of one of the largest battles in American history. 25 presidents have visited Gettysburg since Washington.
Had that as a person.
Much of the route of the Gettysburg and Harrisburg Railroad line passed through undeveloped farmland. Several stops were just platforms set up next to farmlands, providing locals with an opportunity to deliver their goods to a larger market. One of these stops was Table Rock Station, which we will pass momentarily.
Turkeys. Good turkeys. They're wild I might want to silver and try it. Want something?
Native Americans inhabited Pennsylvania for more than 10,000 years prior to the arrival of Europeans. In the absence of preserved written records, much of what we know about their existence comes from the items they left behind. Over the years, thousands of artifacts have been discovered in Adams County, mostly near creeks where camps and villages existed long ago. These indigenous peoples developed unique cultures, provided for their families, and built complex communities that thrived for centuries. Over time, Native Americans created more permanent settlements along rivers like the Susquehanna, leaving this area mostly unpopulated by the time Europeans arrived. We are now passing over Conewago Creek, an Iroquois term meaning at the place of the rapids. Waterways like this one, running through the northern and eastern portions of Adams County, flow into the Susquehanna River and the Chesapeake Bay. In the south and west, streams make their way to the Monocacy River and eventually to the Potomac. These ancient waterways were vital to the lives of both Native Americans and the Europeans who came after them.
Oh, okay.
Problem is, liquor license.
When you guys were handing out on your own.
I need your attention for a very important safety announcement. The train is about to stop. If you are currently standing in one of the cars, please be seated. If you are walking through the train, we ask that you take your seat and secure any loose items, as items may shift while we stop.
After the train stops, that's a great time.
You look, you switch directions when we stop. Look.
Almost straight out.
You want to switch directions?
In the years after the American Civil War, Adams County's commercial fruit industry soared. One of the local pioneers of this effort was Noah Shealy, who first introduced his Adams County apples to the nation at Chicago's 1893 World's Fair. Here he sold 1,500 barrels. Expected success sparked the birth of the Adams County fruit industry, and many of his once skeptical neighbors followed his lead and planted their own commercial orchards. Using the new Gettysburg and Harrisburg Railroad, local fruit growers could now transport their goods to large urban markets far outside the region. In 1903, local families and businesses formed the Fruit Growers Association of Adams County. Maintained Adams County's abundant orchards, which was less transitory and is now an integral part of Adams County life. These men and women have become the backbone of our prosperous fruit industry. Today, there are upwards of 35 varieties of apples produced by local orchards, making this area the heart of Pennsylvania Apple County and home to the National Apple Harvest Festival. This event takes place every year during the first 2 weekends in October. Held at the South Mountain Fairgrounds since 1965, the festival celebrates the harvest season and features over 300 arts and crafts vendors. Apples are available in all shapes, sizes, and forms, from homemade applesauce, apple pies, apple dumplings, and apple pancakes, to apple cider, apple slushies, apple milkshakes, caramel apples, and even apple fries. The festival is run by hundreds of volunteers, and all proceeds are donated to local, regional, and national charities.
That'll work.
We got that right there.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I need everyone's attention for a very important safety announcement. The train is about to move. If you are currently standing in one of the cars, please be seated. If you are walking through the train, please use the nearest handrail for support. In the event of an emergency, Gettysburg Railway staff will provide information using the PA system. Car hosts will guide all activities within your individual rail car. Again, the train is about to move. Please be seated. If you are walking through the train, please use the nearest handrail for support. After the train has begun to move, you may walk through the train to visit our concession area.
Somebody else.
Well, the next one should be.
You're hiding this way.
That's what we do. Try to closure. Gotta keep thinking of it
Wire glasses.
So it's thunderstorms
Yeah, it's gonna be a good place for moving.
Ready.
Same place. They would have outside of the tree. You know, so you're there. That way all the way this side you're going in. Before you're going out.
Stay alert. Along our route, you may encounter some of the abundant wildlife of Adams County. White-tailed deer, fox, and wild turkey are common sights along our route. And keep your eyes out for the occasional black bear that makes its way down from the South Mountain. The woodlands and streams we are passing are filled with amphibians and reptiles. Snakes are commonly seen near the tracks, including the venomous copperhead and timber rattler, alongside the more common black rat snake, which can grow to a length of 6 to 8 feet.
Yeah, but it was nothing.
One big one.
It was right near the
Yeah, we had occasional black bear.
Did you know that? Hall of Fame pitcher Eddie Plank was born and raised near Gettysburg. After pitching for Gettysburg College, the Philadelphia Athletics recruited Plank in 1901, and he played in the major leagues until 1917. Eddie became one of the most dominant left-handed pitchers of all time, with 326 wins and 2,246 strikeouts. A member of 3 World Championship teams, he was considered the most valuable player of the 1913 World Series. After retiring, Plank returned to Gettysburg, where he died in 1926. He was inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame 20 years later.
Just stored there.
He is but a poor American who, looking at this field, does not feel within himself a deeper reverence for the nation's past. Theodore Roosevelt. These venerable men crowding here to this famous field have set us a great example of devotion and utter sacrifice. But their task is done. Their day is turned into evening. They look to us to perfect what they established. Woodrow Wilson. Immortal deeds and immortal words have created here at Gettysburg a shrine to American patriotism. Franklin D. Roosevelt. Gettysburg has attracted visitors ever since the Great Battle took place here. Tourism surged with the arrival of the railroad in 1884, but gradually declined after passenger rail service ended in the 1940s. That changed in the 1960s, when the centennial of the Civil War sparked renewed national interest. In July 1963, Gettysburg marked the battle's 100th anniversary, drawing large crowds once again and ushering in a new era of tourism that continues to this day. Today, Gettysburg is home to more than 8,600 residents. While it shares many qualities with other small towns, tourism remains a major industry. Gettysburg National Military Park spans over 6,000 acres and includes the Soldiers National Cemetery and a large visitor center. The town and surrounding area offer a wide array of hotels, restaurants, and attractions to welcome the millions of visitors who come each year.
Alright, so as we are celebrating our 250th all across the nation, we have little collector's editions Gettysburg maybe getaway guides. There's a nice little 250 on the bottom there. The conductors do like signing autographs, and you can catch them out on the walkway on the way out. If anybody would like one, I have a few left. You can also get these out in town as well. There are any collectors.
Join us this coming year as we commemorate the 250th anniversary of our nation's founding during the semi-quincentennial of the American Revolution. And to explore more of the exciting history of Gettysburg, we encourage you to visit Beyond the Battle Museum, located just 1 mile north of the town square.
The U.S. has, they have a little Gettysburg edition.
We hope you enjoyed learning about the history of our rail cars and the early days of Gettysburg and the surrounding areas. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride as we head back to the station.
Back and go straight through. It's fine.
We can't tell. Oh,
says wine store. We're a winery. So maybe they have tasting.
Gary and I've been talking back and forth for years.
Alright, so we're going past the road area again. This was a pretty important stop in case you were missed it the first time around. This is the original post office for the town. Dating back there, but if you guys can imagine the South Mountain Range over there, and 7,000 troops headed this way from Mountsburg Road, and that's sort of imagine that. But kind of close your eyes, 7,000 troops, Confederates in this area as we head down towards Oak Ridge.
There's a mobile home park.
We had a ball with a music test. White I once in a while, I'm going and bought it because when I
I needed it. And I haven't needed it, especially when you
Boxes, they were all over.
my allergies are worse in November, December. I don't know what it we had artificial trees. I still have states around areas, North Carolina has some areas where they have trout. Laws are really restrictive and punitive. It's pretty much encouraged to reduce travel. Very dangerous. Salmon is getting more scarce. The regulation on salmon, wild salmon are getting western states, up Montana, use thousands of hunting elk, breaking laws hunting elk. They take a car, they're not scared. They're trying to protect the population. A lot of poor and middle income people in the West, they rely on their food.
Like you kind of plan to age.
You're always with each other.
The windows up here, it comes out.
Yeah, so we just moved here, so we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with spaces. But she was surprised. She thought we were going to boxes everywhere.
They give you a couple of them to go bigger, big game. When the windows go up,
Take the window out, stay on your back, kick with both feet.
Also, a little bit ahead of the place of interest, only because I don't want to talk over the overhead projector as we get closer to the Oak Ridge. So on the first day of the battle, on July 1st, 1863, you had the 1st and the 2nd Corps Division on the Union Army, of the Union Army. They would find themselves being overwhelmed by the Confederates. We talked about the 7,000 that were pouring in from South Mountain, and the modern day Route 34, which we're getting ready to go over. So as the train passes over Mumsburg Road, there's going to be an observation tower on that side. It's around that location that Colonel Charles W. Tilden will be told to take that position and hold it at any cost. So they were told, that was their orders, take the position and stand and hold. The 275 men from Maine would, and that was the 16th of Maine, they would form up at around 4 p.m. By Doubleday's division to retreat. And for half an hour, those men would hold off hundreds of Confederates that entered the area. Eventually, they became completely overwhelmed. Then they fell back into what's called the railroad cut. Now, as we go past the railroad cut, it's a little bit further out. There's that building there. You'll have the freight cars, a whole bunch of different tracks passing. There's a cutout in the side of the hill there, and that cut is where they actually got trapped. So they were completely surrounded, trapped, and unable to get away. It was so bad that they were given orders to preserve their regimental flag and the American flag. They cut up the flags into 17 pieces so they would not be desecrated, they would be preserved, and it was considered an honor to die with the flag. They hid those pieces of the flags in their boots, in their shirt pockets, in their mouths, down anywhere that they could hide those 17 pieces of their flags to preserve that. Let's see. And they even hid them in Bibles, their mouths. Of the 275 men that were there, 232 were killed, captured, or wounded. And then, let's see, Tilden was captured, taken to Libby Prison. In Libby Prison, he rallied up a group of men, broke out of Libby Prison, and returned back to his 16th Maine Regiment. He fought a few more battles with them before being captured again, taken to a different camp, broke out of that camp as well, and returned back to his men at the 16th until the war ended to see it out. So as we go back to Gettysburg, there's going to be a lot of monuments up on this side of the train that can be seen along Doubleday Avenue, and it's the east side on that side. The one right before we get to the bed and breakfast there, it looks like the Washington D.C. monument, down in D.C., and that's the one for the 16th of Maine. Now the 16th of Maine was not this is not the battle that was portrayed in the movie Gettysburg. That was the 18th of Maine up on Little Round Top. If you have not been up to Little Round Top, I highly recommend getting up there. It was closed all last year due to renovations. They took down trees, opened up views, put up new monuments and plaques up there. It's absolutely beautiful, the work they did. You will have some of the best sunsets of the battlefields and the slaughter pens up there, and you're going to have a clear view tonight as well. So you might be able to get to some gorgeous pictures of the moon rising. I'm not sure what it's going to cost, but yeah. So I definitely recommend Little Round Top. Any questions? Okay, there will be a quiz later.
That was today's one, the eternal flame.
In the aftermath of the fighting, July 1st, 1863, casualties and mortally wounded littered the fields north and west of Gettysburg. Nearly every farm in close proximity to Gettysburg had been devastated by the fighting, including the house and barn owned by Moses McLean, a local attorney and politician. Crops were destroyed, houses and barns became makeshift hospitals, and fields were used as mass graveyards. Although the northern dead were removed to the Soldiers' National Cemetery months after the battle, the southern bodies remained for many years before being transported south. Undoubtedly, the remains of hundreds of soldiers are still buried in the fields surrounding the town. Within weeks of the battle, a massive tent hospital was established next to the railroad east of town. And it was by train that most of the wounded were eventually transported to larger hospitals in Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Harrisburg. In the 3 days of battle, more than 50,000 men were killed, wounded, captured, or missing, making Gettysburg the bloodiest battle of the American Civil War.
Ball game going on.
So what about
They were warming up
Antietam? I
before.
thought Antietam was the bloodiest battle of the Civil War. Antietam was the bloodiest single-day battle of the Civil War. Gettysburg spanned the full 3 days. We're getting ready to go up closer to this railroad cut with the 16th of Maine. You're going to hear the overhead address by Abraham Lincoln. Today is the day that he was assassinated on April 14th. So we're just going to take a moment and remembrance, and then listen to his speech, Gettysburg Address. The railroad cut for the Oak Ridge is going to be on this side, and then we have more national parks on the east side of the street.
Four months after the Battle of Gettysburg, Abraham Lincoln traveled by rail from Washington, D.C. to Gettysburg for the dedication of the new Soldiers' National Cemetery. As part of the ceremony on November 19, 1863, he was asked to make a few appropriate remarks. Using just 10 sentences and 272 words, he delivered one of the greatest speeches in American history. As we return to the Gettysburg station, take a moment to listen to Abraham Lincoln's message of hope for the future of our nation.
Northern Virginia, 'cause it's right there.
7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate. We cannot consecrate. We cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
rides memorable, enjoyable for you, let us know. Hop on Travelocity, send us an email at gettysburgrailway.com. Hop on our website. We do have upcoming themed trains. We've got 80s date night trains. We've got wine tasting trains. We've got ghost tour trains. We've got reenactment trains. We're trying to get permission to do a deboarding train, but this is our first year in operation, so we're still working out those details with that. We are owned by Patriot Rail. It is a real railroad, so we are railroad employees. If there is anything that we can do, again, in the future, I truly appreciate everybody coming in from out of town, all over the
Thought you
world.
wanted it.
And using our establishment to show you guys around Adams County. There are double-decker tour buses available out in town if you guys would like to go on a double-decker tour bus through Gettysburg.
I need your
Excursions.
attention for a very
And I have to
important
do
safety
now.
announcement.
Thank you,
The
guys.
train is about to
Thank
stop.
you.
If you are currently standing in one of the cars, please grab seats. If you are walking through the train, we ask that you take your seat and secure any loose items, as items may shift while we stop.
If you need any extra assistance going down the stairs, just I ask that you hold off and that the board going down the steps is always.
Thank you for exploring beautiful Adams County, Pennsylvania on today's excursion. We hope to see you again soon.
There we are again. We're going to the store, right?
You're welcome. Have a nice day.
Have a good day. Got it?
Yep. Got it.
Take care of big stuff.
And when I wait, or people don't wait, I get so upset.
I tell customers, people, I'm like, so what happens if you get like you get so all that stuff goes back to your face.
I don't keep mine in my car.
Oh, you don't.
Like, somebody got me one from Nashville, it was a big one. So there for a while, I left it there, and I had a camera bag. Yeah. But all the other ones,
I know investment, 180 units here. They have a 15-20% vacancy. I'm like,
Yeah.
why is this a good thing?
It's not. It's not. Yeah. And their market is flooded, which brings down
So the bus is
the value of the home.
Yeah.
It brings down the value of the park. Nobody wants to go in there.
Yeah.
So they're only hurting themselves. Yeah.
Come on, Jake, you need a few handfuls of ducks, right? Yeah, right. That would be an opportunity to go to your clothes.
Thanks for
Your logo right out there.
What bothers me about it,